Hi guys, let's go and check out, will 2025 be a year of Marvel flops? I personally hope not. We have had flops after flops after flops. I feel like Avengers Endgame was the top they had, and I don't think Marvel will ever find a way to actually be better than that or do better than Endgame. However, if it is even a bit close to Endgame or the epicness we had with the whole Avengers saga and the whole decade that we actually spent watching it, I would say I will be more than happy because I love Marvel. I love DC. I love superhero movies. I love Star Wars. And I do wish better for all of those. I do wish to have more awesome fantasy and science fiction movies that I can look up for and watch on a yearly basis. So let's see if 2025 is a year of flops or not.
One of the things I actually appreciated about 2024 is that it was a pretty quiet year for Marvel projects. Yeah, Deadpool and Wolverine made a splash in the summer, and Echo kind of fell on deaf ears.
Oh, you did not
But
just
a
say that.
combination of industry strikes the previous year, plus various production problems and delays as projects were retooled and reshot, all combined together to give us a welcome break from an MCU that had become kind of tedious and overwhelming. But just like that turd that you've been desperately holding in for a little too long, sooner or later the backlog of MCU content was gonna come blasting out into the world once again. And 2025 looks set to be the year where Marvel ruin a perfectly good pair of Calvin Kleins. I'm using so many fecal analogies here, partly because I'm an immature dick and it makes me laugh. But mostly because after reviewing the lineup of upcoming projects, I think 2025 is going to go down as the year where Marvel really did shit their pants at the box office. Allow me to illuminate you. Their
Please
first big
do.
cinematic release of the year in mid-February is almost certainly going to be their biggest box office disappointment in the shape of Captain America Brave New Worlds. Now, I've already made an entire video
Captain America Brave New World may face more reshoots following third test screening flop. Once you have all of these reshoots, once you have a delay after a delay after a delay, a lot of time, if not like 100%, it flops. Because it's not coherent anymore. They lose the plot and they don't know how to fix it anymore.
going through that film's nightmarish production problems, but the high-level view is that it's a Captain America movie without Captain America, whose protagonist last appeared 4 years ago in a laughably bad TV show that saw him delivering social justice lectures and openly siding with international terrorists, led by possibly the least charismatic actress on the planet.
No,
The terrorists only set us back a bit.
she's not the least. So that's not a terrorist attack?
This is the only language these people understand.
I'm a bit confused.
A production constantly
Interesting.
on the back foot, trying to keep up with a rapidly changing cultural landscape that's been delayed, reshot, rewritten, pulled apart and reassembled so many times that it makes the Justice League look like a paragon of
Marvels. Assemble.
creative efficiency, the end result of which is a production budget that's ballooned to at least $375 million that they'll admit to, meaning it's going to have to make well over $1 billion just to break even.
What? Huh? Did you just say billion?
That they'll admit to, meaning it's going to have to make well over $1 billion
Over $1 billion?
just to break even.
Just to break even? What is happening? What is happening? What is wrong? Like, I think this is a big reason why a lot of movies are flopping right now. It's like a lot is on stake as well. Like, if you look at the gaming industry and you see indie video games are doing way better than AAA games, there is a big reason for that. Because they don't have a lot of money on stake. They are not held up by so many sponsors and other people that have a say, and they don't have any crush. And then even if the indie game flops, they don't lose a lot and they can still do something else and start a new project and try again. While if a AAA game flops, that's like at least 3 to 5 years of hard work, paying people to work, and then being in minus, and sometimes even a whole gaming brand or the gaming producers, like, they actually cannot get out of it, and it just closes. Like, they cannot work anymore. They lose everything, and that's the problem. If $1 billion, like, you know how much money that is in this time and age where people don't even go to cinema anymore as much, or they don't watch movies as much because they have other types of entertainment surrounding them. I don't know. It's hard.
Fuck.
And no offense, but considering the total lack of interest online, not to mention releasing it into the February dumping ground, this thing ain't getting close to $1 billion.
Yeah.
The next big, event of the year is Thunderbolts, which comes out in early May, the traditional slot for Marvel to kick off the summer movie season.
I mean, let's be honest, we're gonna watch it for some picks of characters that we like. Now, the movie premises itself, I feel like it's just very generic.
Marvel's answer to the Suicide Squad, minus the swearing, violence, adult humor, fun storylines, and charismatic characters, of course.
No,
Can't
I
be
don't
taking
like the
creative risks
characters.
now, can we, Kevin? Directed by a guy
No
best
risks,
known for
they
doing
can't.
one episode
They
of
can't
Star
afford
Wars
it.
Skeleton Crew, and written by the creative genius who brought us Black Widow.
This was fun! No!
It truly is poised to be a movie of all time. Seriously though, there's no particularly big names in the actors or the characters here, so I'm struggling to find out what the draw of this movie's meant to be. It honestly feels like it would have worked better as a TV show, sweeping up all the leftovers from other better projects into their own little side quests. As it stands, it came in at a relatively lean $150 million budget, so there's at least a decent chance it'll turn some kind of profit for the studio, but
So they
honestly,
didn't
I
spend a
can't see
lot
it
of
making
money.
much of an impact at the box office. Then there's Ironheart
Maybe.
coming to Disney Plus at the end of June, a TV show so exciting that Marvel have had it in the can for over 2 years now and still haven't released it. Because I think even they've begun to realise that trying to replace one of the most beloved characters in the
Iron
entire
Man, yeah.
franchise with a race and gender swapped teenage prodigy who's just so much better than him in every way is an easy way to blow a couple of $100
You
million
can't do that.
and
You can't shit on our Iron Man, okay? Like, you can't make her better, all right? Like, no, we don't accept that.
piss off the whole fan base.
Yeah,
Seriously
you're pissing
though,
me
from
off.
what I've been told by people on the inside, they absolutely know that this one's going to be a fucking stinker. It was made in a very different time, and the cultural landscape has shifted so much since then that they've spent most of the
especially
past 2 years
woke.
desperately looking for a way to
Wokeness
batgirl
is
it. Unfortunately,
bad.
just like the turd that's been held in too long, Marvel have no choice but to shit Ironheart out into the world and then try to flush it away as quickly as possible. It's just another expensive TV show that's unlikely to win them any new fans. After that, we've got the final big cinematic release of the year,
Oh, yeah.
Fantastic Four.
This is like
a
we're
movie
all
that feels like
looking
it's arrived a
forward to
decade
it.
late to the party, starring
Yeah.
perennial flavour of the month Pedro Pascal, because of course it is, featuring a gender-swapped Silver Surfer, because of course it does.
Why did you do that? Why did you have to go and do that? Okay, listen, all of these projects have started like when woke was a thing, all right? So let's wait a year or two. Hopefully things are gonna shift because they need time to make a script, to make the movie. They need 2-3 years. Then probably we're gonna get the movies we wanna watch. This is a big no-no.
Buzz,
There's
and
only-
directed by the guy who brought us WandaVision after the original director backed out because he couldn't be arsed with superhero movies anymore. I'm with you on that one, mate. Yeah, I know Marvel comic fans are excited to see the Fantastic
too,
Four
I
finally
am.
join the MCU, and that's just peachy. But be honest with yourselves, after the goofy Fox movies from the
I mean, I still loved it because I was young. I was so young. I really enjoyed the movie. Now, probably if I watch it, I'll be like, what the fudge is this? But back then, I was like, ooh, Jessica Alba is hot and everything else looks so cool.
2000s and whatever the fuck Josh Trank thought he
I
was
did
making.
not see this.
Do you really think general audiences are going to get pumped up about a third iteration of the Fantastic Four? Do you really think the Marvel brand, not to mention the entire superhero genre, is strong enough to support a cookie cutter superhero flick like this? I could be wrong on this one, but I just can't see a Fantastic Four movie in 2025 being the massive deal that they seem to think it is. By all accounts, Marvel are quietly shitting themselves at the prospect of this film going head to head with James Gunn's Superman, and quite frankly, they should be. I know which
Yep.
movie I'd rather watch, and I suspect I'm not alone in that. There's also a bunch of animated shows coming out on Disney Plus that nobody is ever going to give a shit about, and Wonder Man at the end of the year that's apparently meant to be some kind of self-aware meta-comedy about superheroes, made by the same studio that gave us She-Hulk.
Oh, jeez.
But hey,
No
at least
way.
it's not all bad.
The studio is still there? It didn't shut down. What?
Daredevil Born Again actually looks
yes.
promising,
Oh my God,
and
that's
as long
so
as they don't
promising.
fuck it up, they might actually have the start of a decent new series on their.
I'm gonna cry. I'm so excited for this. If they mess up this one, I'm gonna be so sad. There is no hope after it. I don't want them to remake or realive anything else. Like, just leave it there. If it gets cancel it and don't bring it back. Just because it is hyped and people are asking for it, not because you actually care about it. We care about it, okay? We want it to be good and we want it the same. We don't want you to change anything. Maybe just make it more epic, but that's all.
Hands. That's great and everything, but it's not like Daredevil's going to save the MCU single-handed. One successful show on Disney Plus is not going to reverse the general trend for this year, and based on everything I've seen so far, that trend is not looking good.
Nope.
I've heard it said that the higher-ups at Marvel are very much aware that the franchise has gone off the rails in recent years, with an oversaturated market, declining quality, superhero fatigue, and preachy activist writing all knocking holes in
Oh
them.
my God, the activists. Activism gone, wokeness gone. This is my solution. Activism gone, wokeness gone, less projects, less individual stories, heroes that we actually know about and care about, and yeah, no more remakes, something new, you know. Also, like, if you're gonna do something, you have comics. You already have comics. You know which are the most popular characters, which are the most popular stories. Just do that. Don't bring up anything new. Just do that. Remake that, make it into a movie or a series format. Yeah.
Mighty MCU. But before they can really fix the problem, there's a whole bunch of other projects in the pipeline that were too far along to cancel or rework. Kind of
Yeah,
like all those
that's what I'm
shitty
saying, like,
DC
26,
movies
27
before
would be
James
like
Gunn
the
took
thing that
over.
the
And so
first
there's not
movies
much
and series
option
that we
but
will
to just
see.
release them, take the hit in the short term, and then hopefully move on to better prospects later. It's a nice idea in theory, but it does mean a shitty year for Marvel fans who haven't exactly been drowning in quality recently, and a very expensive series of failures for the company that has to make them. And it does make me wonder if there's even going to be enough fans left over to care when the good stuff finally comes around again. Marvel might just find that their course correction is too little too late.
See, like, the thing about Marvel, they knew and they know for a decade or so, even almost 2 decades now, they were the pioneers and the best at CGI effects, and solely they focused on that instead of the storytelling. They had good storytelling as well, but individually, if you look at some of the movies back in the day, they still weren't top notch. They only worked out really well because they were coherent with other movies and connected for this end game and this end thing, you know. But also the CGI and the After Effects, people always wanted to see more, bigger, better, you know, and they got that. They got, like, once you top that and the CGI doesn't get any better so fast, I feel like that is the point where you need to also focus on the story, the characters, and the actual actors that you hire to do and act the person that you are portraying from a comic. So in my opinion, that's what they need to focus on this time. Like, yeah, you did great with the CGI. We really don't need it to go bombastic. We don't need you to spend all your money on that. Look at, for example, Penguin or Daredevil, like minimal CGI, you guys. It's about the storytelling. It's about the character. And these are things that people care about nowadays. So maybe in 26, 27, we're going to have movies that focus more on these type of things and like a bit more slow paced, nothing really major. Take your time to develop a character, make us care, you know? And yeah, hopefully it's going to be better. But 2025 is not it. I kind of agree with the critical drinker here.
Anyway, that's all I've got for today.
It got worse. How could his outro get worse?